Welcome back, Nerdiverse, for the second round of Random Select, where we choose 8 films based on particular genre and they fight each other to the mortal death until one is crowned champion. I'm, of course, Mike G, and we are extremely excited to bring you the second round of this grueling matchup. For those who are watching for the first time, let's do introductions all around. Let's keep it short and sweet this time. Introducing Tootie Odin. What's going on, Toots?
Hi. Not much. Not much. Hanging in there. Hanging
Uh,
in there. Pumped for this round. Ready for this double feature. Not sure how that's going to go. Haven't done this one with you guys, so looking forward to it.
this is actually new. The
Cool.
double feature idea is a new idea. So
Very
we're gonna
nice.
go over how that works. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and introduce the man himself, Wash. What's going on, bro?
What up, man? It is fight night, and it is not a new idea. We did two before, so I'm
Really?
just, yeah.
My memory is
Check
gone, bro.
check the archives. That was years ago. Anyway, everything is good. It is fight night. This is a battle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a reason I enjoy doing this, and these battles are gonna be one of them.
Perfect. So just to go over the preliminary rules, this is a double bill. This is a double fight night. So the contestants this evening are Kickass versus Scott Pilgrim versus the world, and also Astro Boy versus Kingsman-the-Secret-Service. This is how it's going to go. We're going to go round for round within the rounds bars. So first, we're going to be going over Kickass versus Scott Pilgrim versus the world. Say that 5 times fast. And then we're going to move on to our closing round for the night, Astro Boy versus Kingsman. By the end of this episode, we will have our grand finals, one versus the other, which will be a big old finale for this year's Random Select. Is everyone excited to get this party started?
Yes.
I don't know how this is going to go. I have no idea. Before we start, I would like to ask everyone, if you're enjoying the content, please leave us a like, please subscribe, and please comment on however you're finding us, maybe on Spotify, YouTube, Insta. Shout outs to Toots on the Insta front. And let us know how everything's going. We love to hear your feedback. All that said, let's get ready to copyright.
Yay. No, no.
She said no. Abort.
Opposite.
Opposite. Perfect. So for the first round, we have Kickass versus Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And today, if you want to see more of a deep dive into our thoughts on these films, please watch round one, because today's not going to be that. We've already discussed these films at nauseum. We probably do it again for the grand finals, but today we're just going to kind of go over and just give our light thoughts on these films as kind of like a refresher for everyone.
And a battle in comparison against the other film, as it is a fight, even though I know we don't like to compare things here at the
No,
Nerdiverse.
we
So,
compare nothing, but we compare nothing outside of Random Select. You're never gonna let that go, aren't you, Wash?
We're not doing
nope,
that one again.
no, I'm not.
You bastard. Oh
Wow.
man, perfect. So who wants to talk about Kick-Ass first? I know we talked about it. Have you has new feelings arisen since the last time we talked about this?
Well, I will jump in and I will go that each each of these were difficult, and Kick-Ass and Scott Pilgrim I thought was going to be super easy, and it was super easy up until I started second guessing myself about 4 hours ago. And I'm like, really? Is this what you're going with, Brian? And I'm like, man, I don't know. So it's been a toss up. These are very similar movies, and in fact, we don't have the date up there, but they both came out in 2010. They're both 2010. So this conversation, very rare, but this conversation has happened before about which of these movies were better. And I don't know who really won that box office nerd fight back in the day because I wasn't paying that much attention. But when I think about Kick Ass, I think about cool freaking action scenes. Out of all the movies that we've watched, these were the most superheroistic action scenes, and Hit Girl out there doing her thing. She absolutely, for me, saves this movie upon a when you're thinking about it, what now? 3, 4 weeks later, I don't even know how long it's been since we watched this, but that third act comes together for me with this film. So um, that is a lasting memory for Kick-Ass. Yes.
Very good. Yeah, it's those lasting memories, right? It's the what stuck with you afterwards. Two, what are your
That being
thoughts?
said, the third act would never have worked had the first two, especially Act One, been extremely in your face about how much they want you to love each and every one of these characters. You pay attention to every single one of them, including his friends, including the hot girlfriend, all of it. You start to find yourself building the relationships and finding yourself being able to relate to them. And by Act Three, like Nicolas Cage burning to death, none of that would have worked. That would have come off so bad had the first two acts not been built up the way they were. Yeah, it almost was borderline cheesy already because of the way Nick Cage acted it out, but no, it ended up being super brilliant. Like you said, it took over the whole thing. It wrapped up the thing with a nice pretty bow. Yeah, Kick-Ass is great.
Because for a second in the second act, like when the gangsters are burning in the building, like this thing can go off the rails real quick.
It got real
Like we are entering like, satirical type of comedy category at this stage, like 1980s like television bad. And it didn't. It was able to save itself. And that it's a great movie. It really is a great movie. I'm glad we had a chance to revisit it because I had forgot about just how kind of like cool this movie is, even though I still adhere the violence towards children in it. That will be said, but yes.
You're a weenie. I thought it was great.
He doesn't like it, man. It's okay.
Uh,
One thing,
I
yeah.
would love for my children to be that kick.
I
Damn.
didn't say I didn't like
That would
violence.
be
I didn't like
awesome.
this violence.
Yeah, I didn't
I'm
like
fine with
this
some
fight.
Star Wars violence. Literally just listened to some kids dying the other day.
All right,
It
good.
was fine.
All right.
Just to make sure we're
Just keeping
all
it
on
balanced.
board with
Keeping it
child death. Just making sure
Okay, cool.
we're all
Cool.
on board
Cool.
with kid death. Sounds like a plan. Perfect.
Yikes.
One thing I do like about this movie that you guys mentioned is it's a ramp up of belief to disbelief. Like the very very first fight of the film, it's so rugged and real. It's just two people fighting in an alley. There's nothing cool about it, right? Kick-Ass gets his ass kick, and he's
Hmm.
bleeding, and it's very unceremonious. Like, okay, this is as grounded as can be. To the absolute end of the film, where he's literally in a freaking jetpack with a rocket launcher flying 10 stories above the ground, and it does a really good job of getting you there. You know what I mean? It just keeps getting more fantastical and fantastical until by the end it's just a superhero movie. You know what I mean? But because it had that original grounding, you believe it more. You know what I mean? It's more real. Like just the techniques of Hit Girl and Big Daddy training makes it more believable that this little girl can come in here and kill 25 mobsters, and it's just natural, right? You suspend disbelief because they paved the way and you earned it. One thing I like about this movie is
And
that
because you
everything's
believe
earned.
Nick Cage can really mess up a child given the right circumstances. Like anybody under Nick Cage like guidance, it's like, oh, we don't know how they're gonna turn out. So
Nah, man.
yeah. Anyway.
I mean, I'm not even talking about the character, and we were talking about Nick Cage as a person, like the human dog. You just don't know.
You know.
You know. So yeah, Kick-Ass definitely has stuck around with me, just because of that fact, and it's so colorful, and it's this is around the time superhero movies were so bland and everything had to be gray, and you had your Justice League, Zack Snyder's, and your Captain America Civil Wars, where it has this stupid gray palette. The suits were so bright on top of the bloody gore. It's just I just really like the aesthetic of this film, as well as what Two's mentioned, the relationships therein. For some reason in my brain, I thought his girlfriend was like a spy for the gangsters. I misremembered that, and I was waiting for that turn to happen, and it never happened. You know, I must be mixing movies, but yeah,
No, you're thinking about what's his face being her friend.
the motherfucker, is that his name?
No, the
Motherfucker.
black dude.
Oh yeah, the black dude.
The black dude's her friend.
Oh, right, 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 right,
And
right.
that's the reason why he goes and visits the apartment, and he's like, leave her alone, she wants you to leave her alone and all that, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah, remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. All right. Like I said, we're not going to go too deep into these. Let's go on to the next film, shall we?
Okay.
Okay. Scoop. Scott Pilgrim
We're
versus the
only
world. I
maybe
know.
15 minutes in,
I know.
so
Maybe we should slow down a little
No,
bit.
that's like we have 4 films, 15 minutes, like plus the finale. We're on time.
Watch this like
We're it's moving just as it should. It's a
as intended.
semifinal.
okay.
As
I
intended.
disagree, but okay. Go ahead.
All right. Let's talk about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I have an unnatural soft spot for this film just because I was so deep into the graphic novels as a kid. Um, just lighter points on this one. Once again, the action scenes are amazing. The cast is phenomenal. Chris Evans, just that guy never ceases to amaze me in anything he's in. One film that didn't make this cut, not necessarily, it wasn't in the random select, but watch Snowpiercer with Chris Evans. Amazing graphic novel film. Almost it was among the running of random select. What, you're shaking your head? Watch. Did you not like
I fell asleep
Snowpiercer?
twice.
Wow, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I like that film, but yeah, amazing cast. I love the dedication to the source material. I love the casting of Scott Pilgrim by Mike Cera, and I love the music. The music was also amazing. So this one will always stick with me. It'll always have a soft spot in my heart. And this is one that if I just want to groove out and listen to some good tunes, I'll watch this and just zone out and have a good time. Those are just my overall thoughts on this one. Um, who would like to go next?
I'll
Okay,
jump
I'll
in.
go.
Oh,
Well,
go
okay,
ahead.
go ahead, Brian.
All right. Well, Scott Pilgrim as compared to Kick-Ass, and again, I was reflecting on this, and I had such a good time with this movie when I had no intentions of like having a good time with a movie. From the word go when the music starts, and I'm like, man, I can't believe that I'm about to have to watch this terrible like music movie thing. I look back on this now, and this wasn't that long ago, probably 3 weeks ago, and it was fun. Like it was a fun. I don't know how long this movie was, hour and a half. I didn't look it up.
It was
Hour
pretty,
40
yeah,
minutes.
pretty tight.
But I thought that what they did. I would have loved to have seen an extended version with like a full in-depth like the seven deadly boyfriends, but with the time that they had, I thought that they were able to bring together something that shouldn't necessarily have worked on film. And when I think about the battle sequences versus Kick-Ass, I did not enjoy the fighting in this as much as I did Kick-Ass, but I actually think that I had a better time with Scott Pilgrim than I did Kick-Ass, if that makes any sense. So, um, it's a really fun watch, and these are both two really very similar movies, and I'm really wondering like since they were made at the same time, give or take, was like production crews and like other people's, you know what I mean? Was it like, hey, why don't you come take a look at this cut of my film, go look at a cut of your film? Because when you put these two movies like back to back, I don't want to say they're carbon copies, but the look, the color, the cringe, it's all it's all similar, and I go cringe both ways because when you look at Kick-Ass is cringe, you have this crazy like Batman-ish cartoonish fight style that comes out of nowhere that doesn't necessarily fit. No real explanation as to why Michael Cera can take an ass whipping and get back up. apparently one wasn't needed. You know what I mean? An explanation wasn't needed on that front. So another good time when I look back on it, and another I'm super surprised I enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah. What I'll say before I'm passing it over to Toots is that Edgar Wright and Matthew Vaughn have very similar director sensibilities. I'll say because I think of movies like um, Shaun of the Dead, and my favorite of his, dang it, Hot Fuzz is my favorite Edgar Wright film. That I just love me some Hot Fuzz, and it has like the stop and go, very kinetic, laughs a minute kind of. It just keeps you going, and you can say the same thing about Matthew Vaughn movies, where they just have this very high kinetic feel to them. There's never a dull moment. You're kind of at the edge of your seat, so I can see that comparison and them like swapping notes. I think they're just of the same. They're cut from the same cloth. Um, Toots, what are your thoughts about Scott Pilgrim?
Oh, I disagree with both of you guys completely.
Oh, okay.
They're not at all the same movie whatsoever. I've been toying with this one kind of like all day, kind of all week, to be honest. This one was the harder one of the two to get through, and this is actually the one this is actually the verses that I've made a decision on, that I'm holding on to. Still haven't made a decision on the next one we're going to do, um, which is weird. But okay, here's the thing: Scott Pilgrim is an IRL anime film. That's what it is. It's not. There's no comic book feel to me involved at all, with the exception of there's a scoop of comic book actors in it. It's an anime film, is what it is. That's why there is no need for an explanation as to why Scott Pilgrim is able to have the powers that he does. We don't need one. There's no reason to explain why he's in love with a high school girl while he's 22. It's made fun of, and it's almost satirical. But again, these are all formulatic things that they have in a lot of animes, just to set the tone, just because it's commonplace in a lot of these anime cartoons, and with a lot of these characters, a lot of these mangas and whatnot. So yeah, they're both fast paced. They're both very fantasy, but one builds up to explaining the how and the why. The other one, like you said, it does get away with a lot because it doesn't need to explain it. And it goes beyond the fantasy. It just goes back to the fact that let's pretend this is a real life cartoon. This is why the set changes happen the way they do every single time. This is why the poo and the pow and all those cartoonish words pop up. You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessarily meant to set a tone as a comic book film. I think it's meant to set a tone as an anime film. There's so much Japanese influence and Scott Pilgrim. Um, and while I was thinking about that, my main gripe with Scott Pilgrim is not what the movie is, and how it was directed, filmed, etc., etc. All that is excellent. It's what it did afterward. Now, what this movie did afterward was it portrayed the alt girl, the gamer girl, the nerd girl as toxic. Because let's be honest, if you just look at what things are today, if a girl happens to be relatable to a fella, she's a pick me. She can't win anymore. She can't be unique, and she can't self-express, and she can't be herself without being considered a pick me or toxic, or oh, she must have a bunch of guys in her DM. I see it all the time in comments. I see it all the time in the social media atmosphere. It's interesting that, and not to say that this movie was the crux in all of it, but it helped. It helped in delivering the idea that you can't always trust the alt girl. You can't trust the funny, unique one all the time, because you may have to fight her 7 ex-boyfriends, type shit. And that seems to be, I think, what young, maybe even older, lonely fellas will take out of it. Not necessarily, I can fight for the one I love. No, the exact opposite. It's, I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that from the film. So both the anime and the Japanese influence, like, I'm definitely not in the circles that Michael is in when it comes to anime. Lady Odin, I don't know your history. But I did not get any anime at all. Like, I did get cartoon, but that's mostly because I was playing with the video game, and the video game comes off very much with that type of art style. But for me, as far as the relationship goes, like yeah, I didn't catch any of that. I just looked at it as like a fun, like, you know, dude
Well,
who
I can
shouldn't,
guarantee if you watched it out of the eyes of anybody between the ages of 15 and 30, she's a pick me, he's a simp,
yeah,
because
no,
that's how
no
it
know what
ends.
it means.
And it's societal is what it is. So I'm now viewing the movie in the eyes of somebody who would view the movie today, because we've already done the part where we viewed it in our own eyes, right? We've already done that review. So now I'm reviewing it in a sense to where, who am I going to tell, hey, watch this movie because it's really good. That's what we're doing here, right? So that's where I'm coming with this about it. Because if I want somebody to watch a movie and be like, hey, you're going to come out this feeling good, it's just not going to happen today. Not with Scott Pilgrim.
Have a lot of
Interesting.
definitely have some influences. Definitely there is anime influence. The fights alone are very Dragon Ball. The fights alone are very Naruto, with the giant kick with the speed lines and all that good stuff, right?
The giant, yeah.
Yeah, giant super
Yeah.
kicks.
I guess I
It's
don't
there.
necessarily look at that and just like scream anime every time I see it. I
No,
just scream that is it's that's what's done. It doesn't scream anime to me, I suppose. But when you mention it, it's like, yeah, okay, all right, I understand that. Just like,
Bro,
an
Knives
Asian
literally
martial art show.
screams a Japanese word. I don't know what she says, maybe attack, but she literally screams a Japanese word before she
with like
attacks.
size in her hands. But it's equal parts anime, video game. Because as much as there's anime influence, there's a video game. When you kill people, coins pop out. You know what I'm saying? The last scene of the film says "Game Over." You know what I mean? Very 80s inspired, 16-bit influence on top of the Toronto music scene. So it's kind of like we want to tell a love story, but we're gonna bury it in these three tropes, and that's kind of like, and you have a baby, and it's Scott Pilgrim. Um, Toots, I did have a question in regards to like your views on kind of the societal impact that a film like this has, where
Gotcha.
you know what I mean, where it's like, Ramona Flowers in today's sensibilities is the pick me girl, right? And she is you know, she's the try hard almost, to be with, to hang out with the cool gamer boys, and to infiltrate that kind of
Oh, they're not cool.
I mean, let's say X out cool and put gamer boys. Okay, how about that? And I think it's like with anything, right? It started out cool until it wasn't, right? Until it got mutated and changed. And like you said, watching it at this time is the coolest thing in the world. But watching it in a lens of today, let's say if you're 15, 16, they're like, that would be cringe to the kids of today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and it's like, who is this marketed to? It's marketed to teenagers and big fat nerds like me who love this stuff from back in the day. So, if you were to suggest this to anyone, you kind of pick and choose your battles, right? Okay, I would suggest this to my buddy at 40, but I wouldn't suggest this to my cousin at 14 because they may not dig it. I mean, they just may not even understand half the references to to lock in with it. But maybe the core idea of love and the awkwardness of learning what love is and how to be in relationships will resonate beyond generation, but that's to each person. So very interesting talking points across the board. What do you Wash? What are you thinking, man?
MOTN love line. I have no idea. I
I'm
so
just
I I
Toots
I just won't.
Toots put the bunny in my brain, and it's just hopping around. I love it. I think it's
All right.
interesting to see it from that perspective and what it means today versus what it meant then. But then it's a slippery slope. It's like showing a 15-year-old a new hope. You know what I mean? Like, are they going to be as wow as we were? Probably not. They think it's
I can tell
old.
you this, there's a lot of 40-year-old fellas our age who are absolutely single because they can't trust women.
That
So when do you
part.
think that started?
Ah, man.
If you can't
The
even trust the
first
one you
no.
like, how
the
can you
first.
trust the one you don't like?
It always starts at the
Sorry.
first no. That's when guys get
Yeah.
jaded. And Ramona was a big no. She made him work. She just didn't say yes. Fight my 8 evil exes.
I mean,
Guys,
exactly. She came with baggage at 22. I remember this is a point I brought up at the last one. Why does she have 8 boyfriends at 22 years old?
that's rough.
That's unheard of. That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
So like I had 2.5 boyfriends at 22, 2.5. I don't even know about the other one. Like I don't, that was a question till this day. That was a mystery. So it's like to even have that much baggage. That's the thing to me. Again, it's part of a new society that was setting the tone to set a foundation for people to become incels, for people to not be able to relate to somebody of the opposite sex because they like this. Oh, you like this? Well, I guess I can't trust you because now you're trying too hard to be cool.
And I
That's
know,
that's just what I got out of it.
and to close, and that sensibility has adjusted your sentiment towards this film. You know what I
Are you
mean? Like,
asking me?
yeah, I'm asking. I'm
Yeah.
at,
Yeah, of
and
course.
okay.
Again, the whole purpose is will you recommend this film to somebody in the near future, right?
No, though, and you did mention that, and the point of random select is putting two films together, as films are subjective, and then three people choose the winner over the course of two films. So whatever your reasons are, one of my reasons for an earlier film was like Nightmare Alley. I couldn't recommend it to anyone, no one. That became my guiding light for that movie. Is that who can I tell anything? But
What's the
if you can
difference?
recommend, that's not why you should pick the movie. Like, this isn't a recommendation podcast. This is a battle. Like, what movie do you like best? And that is the point of subjection. So, yes, if I'm using that word correctly in that sentence, which is questionable.
Subjection, seduction.
Well, we've all been going by that question, right? At the end of the day, when we can't make a decision, our decision always is based
Oh,
on will we recommend it to somebody else.
you
So
see, I don't think my last one was. But
It
I see
it
your point.
it
yeah.
It is
changes.
one of the qualifiers in there that as you're like Xing out, you're like, dude, do I recommend this to someone? I don't know. Like, yeah, okay, that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're
That's
cutting
exactly what you brought out
hairs.
with Old
We're
Boy.
cutting
Yeah,
hairs.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, no, no. I
absolutely,
agree. I agree. I
absolutely.
agree that it is cutting hairs, splitting
So
hairs. Yeah.
yeah.
yes,
And with me, it's like, and this was my hardest part with the last battle. Um, is this a good film? Is it well made? Is the plot strong? Is the acting great? Versus, did I just have a good time? Did I have fun with this movie? And it's always that kind of tug of war on if it's a good movie or if it's an enjoyable movie. And that's kind of my North Star on how I pick a film. Which one gets to the middle the best? Is it fun and
No,
is it
because you
good?
try to pick Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's not.
That, hey,
You can't
I'm
say
hey,
still
that
with
and
you,
then
hey,
say
Mike. I'm
that.
hey.
still with you, Mike.
You
I
can't
still
say
won't
that
yell
and
at
say that.
you. I'm
It's
still
just a
with you.
better film. No,
It
you
just
can't do
it
that.
like and
Watch
in
got me
that
done. Watch
instance
got me
in
boo.
that
Watch
instance
got
if
me
and
done.
I don't want to rehash,
You
but
guys
it's
are
like it didn't
Boo.
win because I had seen it 30 times. Like, there wasn't much there for
Sometimes,
me.
and
So
I'll say this
the
too.
guiding light is different, man.
Sometimes there's no guiding light. It's just nostalgia, and the nostalgia for me for that film was way too strong for me to be objective. I'm
Yeah,
I'm big enough to say that because all my brain could go is TURTLE power, and that's all I heard. you know, but
I'm with you. So all right.
so
No, that's
let's
fair. That's
you know,
fair. I don't
so
think it's fair to the audience, but it's
no
fair for us.
no, and it's like it's not fair to the audience because it's not a real subjective white room decision. But some films supersede that. It's not
This
all
is
films.
Siskel and Ebert.
Like
Like,
some
the
films
audience,
supersede that.
listen to what we're saying,
Yeah,
and
like
yeah, I like what Mike said about this movie. I'm gonna watch it. I like
if
what
you,
Lady Odin said about this movie. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
watch it.
watch it.
That's
That's right.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, but I can't be subjective about Hellraiser. It's going to win in my brain. To
well,
certain
that's not why
movies.
we're here
No,
today.
I know. I'm just being real. I'm trying to be as realistic as
I got
possible.
you.
But speaking of real, we have to pick a winner here. I'm not going to cheat. I didn't change my mind. I had who I wanted to win in my brain since before this started. But Wash, would you like me to go first, or would you like to go first, Wash?
I'll go. So this was the one that I thought I knew, and then at about 4 hours, I was like, man, maybe I should pick this other movie. I don't know. And I had to like go back, I watched some scenes, I like did some stuff, and I was like, you know what? I feel confident that one movie is awesome, but I genuinely had the better time Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim wins for me.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. Perfect. Yes, as Tootie is the wild card tiebreaker, I will go next. She screams wild card and jumps out the back of the truck like on Always Sunny, and cuts the brake lights.
Wild
This is
card.
wild card.
I'm Green Man.
Yeah,
I'm
you
Green
just
Man.
you Candyman float out the window. You know what I'm saying?
Monday morning, she's like, wild card.
Wild
Ah,
card.
shit.
Oh, shit. Tootie Odin quit that, dude. Um, I'm just gonna call it. Um, the movie I chose between these two, and it was a really hard choice to make because I never saw these films as similar, but I did. But they are genre. They're big genre films. One's an anime film to your note too. So one's a superhero film, but they're so they're so broken down. They're not though. Scott Pilgrim isn't just Speed Racer. If you ever seen the adaptation of Speed Racer, that's the most anime live action film ever made. We got to
So
talk
good.
about that at some point.
Oh my
Speed
God.
Racer is
Yes.
godlike, right?
So
But
good.
it's the most beyond belief movie you will ever watch in your life. You'll have an aneurysm just from the colors. Whereas,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so fucking good.
It's
But
so good.
but Scott Pilgrim is that. It's there's no explanation. There's no need for explanation. You live in this universe with Scott, and this is what's going on. Whereas Kick-Ass tries to ground it in real life as much as possible, but also still manages to make it fantastical. And this is a hard decision, but I have to go with Kick-Ass on this one. I have to go with Kick-Ass. Only because I love Scott Pilgrim, but I enjoy Kick-Ass more as a full package. I like the walk. I like the growth of Kick-Ass. I like the characters that were developed. Hit Girls. I didn't know Hit Girl was gonna become one of my favorite superheroes ever, but she did. You know what I mean? I love the actor who plays her. Like in Scott Pilgrim, because there's so much content for Scott Pilgrim. I feel like I can get my Scott Pilgrim in other places, video games, the animes. Whereas Kick-Ass is so isolated. You know, watching this movie in itself is just super good. It's a nice tight movie. So my choice is Kick-Ass. So we have a tiebreaker. Wild card.
Wild card.
Wild card.
Wild card.
Wow. Let's
Wild
go.
card.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, both movies are amazing. I think we did mention even previously that they did come out the same year around the same time
Oh, okay.
because of how back to back and how similar they actually were. I'm not disagreeing that they're not similar. They are similar. To me though, very, very, very different. I'm gonna just come out with it and then I'm gonna explain why.
Hold on,
Okay.
hold on.
Yes. Go ahead.
Before you say, because I was curious, which ones had the kids you didn't like? Because I know there was one set of kids that
Scott
you
Pilgrim.
did not like. Okay,
Scott
all right.
Pilgrim.
All right,
But
all right.
here's the thing. They annoyed me and I didn't know why then. If we go back and watch
Okay.
the episode,
Yeah.
I couldn't really pinpoint as to why it bothered me. And then I realized
No,
why.
you did.
Because well, really, because they don't exist anymore.
Okay.
The alt girl doesn't exist anymore. The goth girl can't exist anymore. The grunge girl can't exist anymore. The nerd girl can't exist anymore. We can't. It's just impossible without being cringe or without being a pick me or without being try hard. Like it kind of sucks. Like I don't have to worry about it so much. I'm 40. I don't give a shit anymore. You know what I mean? You like me, you like me. You don't, you don't. Thank God I'm an old lady that I don't have to worry about it. But I feel bad for the young girls who just want to be unique and want to be themselves and want to be able to express themselves and love the things that they do and have the hobbies that they have without somebody looking at them like I can't be attracted to you because I can't trust you because you're trying too hard. So let me get my heart broken by some broad who would want nothing to do with me. And I think that's the formula that's been set in society. And I'm going a little bit too deep, a little bit too hard on that aspect of it. But it made me realize why I didn't like the Scott Pilgrim kids. Because they don't exist anymore. They're not real. They're all clicks and selfies and views. And that's why we're doing this now. That's it. It's it. It's very rare to find a true gem on the internet that isn't an industry plant, that is raw talent, that is making a way for themselves by themselves without buying viewers, without buying sponsors, without blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? So it's a different world now, and I think the world of Scott Pilgrim did exist at one time, which would have made it an explosive, true to form film. And unfortunately, that time does not exist anymore. So my choice was for sure Kick Ass. It's right there. I chose Kick-Ass, and I will explain why very briefly. Kick-Ass was absolutely ahead of its time. It was the beginning of clicks for views, which to me is a con, because it goes back to what I was saying about the Scott Pilgrim um, kids, is that everything's clout, 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 clout. We don't have real, authentic people that are on the internet we can trust, and therefore in our personal lives we feel like we can't trust anybody around us. It's true to comic book movies. Absolutely 1,000%. Matthew Vaughn does an insane job at color. He does an insane job at moving the movie along. The character arcs are beautiful. And honestly, to me, it's true to form in the MOTN vision. The MOTN like mission that we have is self-expression, being able to be yourself, and letting that work out for you. You know what I mean? Like, we're so unsure of ourselves, be it adults, kids, youth, whatever. The self-expression is beautiful. The heroism, the fantasy, and the entire thing, and turning the fantasy into reality. This is all Masters of the Nerdiverse stuff to me.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't know it back then, or a few weeks ago, rather. But it turns out Nicolas Cage was just when he was burning alive. Spoilers, spoilers. When he was
Spoilers.
burning alive, he was shouting out comic book titles, like actual issues of comic books,
Oh, that's fun.
as
Oh.
moves to Hit Girl. So he was saying Robin's Revenge as he was screaming, and she would do a move.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that until now. So like, dude, like that just made what? Like, how much of a boner more can you have for comics if you're I don't know. I just, all in all, this is definitely a Masters of the Nerdiverse film. And this would be one that I would highly recommend to our audience. Absolutely, for that. And two, it was for me, it was the better film because it's timeless.
Timeless. Timeless. It's funny that you mentioned something I never really thought of as things being MOTN coded. You know what I mean? Like MOTN
Well,
style.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Masters of the Nerdiverse,
You are
so
R. Lee. You've always been
I'm a
trying
fan
to be
first. Yep.
R. Lee. And
I
it's
am Lur- I
about,
am your
yes, yes, indeed. And this movie is about being a big nerd and trying something new, right? And trying to be different and try to, you know, find your village. You know what I mean? And Kick-Ass is a perfect example of that. Interesting. So for this round, it came down to a split. And please understand, both of these movies are really good. We're
Yes, they
splitting
are.
hairs here because this is once you start getting into these later
Someone's got to
rounds.
pick.
Yeah,
Someone's got to win.
someone's got to win, someone's got to
There are
lose.
no ties.
There are no ties. Thank you so much,
There's no
Tudiota, because
ties.
because there were ties until one of us had to egress, and that's no more.
That would have been a long one.
That would have been like a 3 hour episode,
That would have been a long one.
but Kick-Ass wins that round. Someone please notate. And if you haven't seen either of these movies, why are you listening? Go watch them, please. No, you know, we're spoiling the shit out of all this.
Damn, you turn into an auntie right there. Damn.
Go watch that shit yet.
And just so you
Goddamn.
guys know, I did actually, while we're talking, made my second decision there. So it's already written down,
All
just so
right.
you guys know. Okay. No cheating. I'm good. I
Who remember?
think.
I
I
think.
hope.
Who remembers that song? Flesh for fantasy.
No.
Nope.
No,
Got nothing.
somebody
No.
knows that. Nerdiverse, holler at me.
I'm
I
sure
know I
somebody
know
does.
Flash. Flash.
Oh,
Yeah, I know that one.
it's a miracle. Speaking of movies that are miracles, we're going to talk about Kingsman-the-Secret-Service, which is funny because I watched this again apropos of nothing, which is like, oh, Secret Service is on. I'm going to watch it. I didn't realize I was going to do that. I did not do it in preparation for this episode. It's just on, and it's just that kind of movie you just turn on and you're back in. It's one of those movies which is rare. You can come on at any point of the movie and don't feel left out. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I missed the beginning. I got to rewind it. Nope, just jump in where you're at. You're good. Even just the end of the movie, you're good. Just watch it till the end. You know what I mean? Um, I'll go first on this one. Just general thoughts. This, much like Kick-Ass, this movie really turns its genre on its head. The spy film, espionage, the To Russia with Love, Goldfinger esque, James Bond stuff, and it really just makes it its own. Once again, another Matthew Vaughn film. I love directors who you can feel their personality in their films because it's very similar. In some ways, it's extremely grounded, and in other ways, it's so fantastical it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And you just kind of roll with it. Um, I love the cast. We talked about it before. Michael Caine, Samuel Jackson, and of course Colin Firth, who plays Galahad, if I'm correct. Um, this is one that I just watch all the time. Apparently, it just comes on and I watch it. So, really excited to get into a bit of a discussion about this film. Um, Wash, how about you give us your thoughts on Kingsman: The Secret Service in retrospect?
Um, this this has been rough, and like Lady Oden, like I picked, and I don't even know if I picked the right one.
Mm-hmm.
That is where I'm at with this because for me, and we'll get an Astro Boy when we get there. The problems with this film are what stick with me 2 weeks later. Like Samuel Jackson, I'm still not a fan, and he's still like the entire character still bothers me. Like the glossing over of Eggsy's like entire like character and like story development as a character, which, as I said, could happen in 2 or 3. I was gonna go watch Astro Boy and part 2, but I didn't want to be influenced by the sequels or anything else. So I was like, we'll just hold off. So for me, the problems are still there a few weeks later. That said, I will say that it was a entertaining, popcorny type of movie, and I'm just coming off of a watch of a movie, which we'll talk about Friday. Shout out, go come watch Hangout Friday live, MOTN. We talk a bunch of cool
Yay.
stuff,
We
but
do.
I'll talk about it Friday. And it's like, it's very hard to get a good popcorn movie where you can just go to a movie, walk into a movie theater, sit down with a bucket of popcorn, have a good time, walk out, and feel satisfied that, hey, you know what? That was pretty good. I'm satisfied. Let's move on. And as I think about Kingsman, the movie did leave me satisfied. The action did leave me satisfied. The style did leave me satisfied. Um, the story did was lacking a bit, but you not everything's a 10, you know what I mean? Not everything's like Return of the friggin' Jedi. So, um that's
Wasn't a 10
that's
either.
my
I hate to
thought.
break it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you.
wasn't a 10 either, you know what I
I
mean?
hate to break
So,
it to you.
that's what sticks with me a couple of weeks later.
Wash is
All right.
never
J-
satisfied.
just real quick, you guys. I was talking. Me and my daughter bought. I bought her a tiny little starter collector series of Star Wars toys, and she said she watched Force Awakens with my brother-in-law and my sister, and she was like, at the end of our purchases, I was describing the characters that she got because it was a grab bag, just surprise animals, and um. And she was just asking me about each character. She asked me about Ray. She asked me about Kylo Ren. She asked about their leniency. And then she's like, so basically, these movies are just about family drama. And I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
I'm
Wise
like, yeah,
beyond your
you
years.
got it. She's old,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
she's 9. So basically, they're family drama.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't mean to change the subject, but yeah, you brought it up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Always,
okay, it's okay,
always,
it's okay. I've been dying
all
to
the
share that with you guys,
time.
actually.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
That's amazing.
That's fun. I like it. It's
family
true.
drama. That's funny. All right, so Kingsman. I Matthew Vaughn's insane. He's just amazing. I mean, nothing to take away from any of the other directors from any of the other movies that we reviewed, but Matthew Vaughn is up there when it comes to the action and the sequence of action. The casting is insane in this movie. Loved all of it. I don't want to go back and reiterate what I've said in the previous one. We'll just watch it. Um, but again, it's a call to action. It's true comic book form still to me in this one, even though it's not a comic book movie, but it's still got its vibe. Sam Jackson, especially with the cringe character, does come with that. He comes with a comic book sword in hand, with his character. Um, I agree. I didn't watch it again, but I did watch snippets and I did try to grab some 2-minute reviews as a whole. And you're right. There's a giant hole in this damn story. And also very weak plot. Like who cares? Okay, so his dad dies and he picks up this kid and blah, 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 all right. So yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree on that end. But the action does make up for it. The accents kind of make up for it. All of them. The lisp, the blade feet lady. I mean, it all kind of works out to me for me.
And you said it, Mike. Colin Firth. Colin Firth like does a fantastic
He
job
sure does. Yeah.
introducing like these people as like a group and a crew and what they're capable of. Had he phoned it in on this performance, I don't think we'd be having this conversation
At
right
all.
now.
Sure.
So,
At all.
you know,
Colin Firth was so good. I'm mad he doesn't do more action shit like Liam Neeson. Like, Colin Firth was so good. I was doing my own fan casting of who he could be in the DC universe and who he could be in the Marvel universe. And I have some characters who I think he would be sick as. Beast. I think, like,
Kelsey Grammer.
man, Kelsey Grammer's 1,000 years old, man.
We're
Let,
not having this conversation.
let Papa go lay down. Let Papa go Mimi. But
Sorry.
no
I
worries.
just
No,
I'm with Brian on that one. I don't know.
you know what? This is
It's
watch
perfect.
MOTN live Fridays 6 p.m. That is a
'Cause
supreme live
we be
question.
we be fighting.
We be fighting. We love each other, but we don't agree on anything, and it makes for good podcasting. Because I was ready to
Oh,
fight right
brother.
then. I got out my side. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Anywho,
funny.
stay on target. Stay on target. Um, this movie, it's just special. I don't know what it is about it. I think Matthew Vaughn.
Why'd you start watching it again, if you don't mind me
It's
asking? It was
funny.
on. You could have changed the channel. Like, why did
It's
you decide
It's a
to
good
it's.
watch
question.
it? Because you just watched it
I
That's a
literally
good
just watched
question.
72
it.
hours ago.
I wasn't searching for it. So I was on Amazon Prime. This is not a plug. If you want to plug us Amazon, Toots will do the job at adding you. We'll be your sponsor. But I've been kind of playing around with their
What's the guy's
live
name? Mark Bezos? I don't know.
Jeff
Mark
Bezos,
Mark Bezos? Oh, okay.
Jeffrey Mark
Jeff
Bezos,
Jeff Zuckerberg. Okay.
Jeff
Got it.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, got it.
I was just they have these live channels where it's like watch Ninja Turtles literally all day. There's just a Ninja Turtles channel. You know what I mean? And things like that. So I was kind of just surfing, just seeing what live stuff was. And it was like on Showtime. That just comes with the thing. I was like, ooh, Kingsman. I just watched this. Where are they at? Ooh, they're just about to get to the church scene. I could go for that right now. And I just kind of left it on. Started drawing, started like working on the channel. And it was just on. I didn't search for it. I necessarily wasn't really engaged in it, but it was on. It was something like, okay, I don't have to channel surf anymore. I like this.
But
I'm
it
just gonna
hit
leave
the
it on.
magic, ooh, I can
Ooh,
watch this button, which, we're all searching for. So,
yes.
that's a good enough reason for me. That was
Yeah.
curious, though. Why, you know?
Totally serendipitous. I didn't type it. I didn't look for it. It just was on, and I think a
I
lot of
won't
that's
watch Star
lost.
Wars on TNT because of commercials, but
Oh
moving
yeah,
on.
yeah. It's like we don't have that anymore. Like in this streaming era,
It's
where
always on TNT too, isn't it? Yeah,
Kingsman,
it's
yeah,
always on TNT.
always on
No, no, no,
TNT.
no. Star Wars.
Star Wars,
The old ones, especially on Saturday mornings, like 8 a.m. ish. Like Star Wars is always on TNT. Yeah.
Let me some TNT. Monday Nitro, Monday Night Nitro, WCW. What y'all know about that? Yeah, wrestling,
It's still on. I didn't know that.
acting. Um,
Acting. It's still on. WCW Nitro
no,
still goes.
WW is dead, Doug. Sadly,
Oh, okay.
the
Well,
gaping maw of Vince McMahon ate WCW back like in the late '90s. Sadly. Um, Speaking of gaping maws, you want to talk about the villain of Astro Boy here and just the overall. I'm so disconnected from this review that I don't honestly remember a lot of it. I remember certain beats. I remember the final fight. I remember the weird Pet Cemetery ish vibes the mature vibes this movie gave off, and it's the weirdest thing. I just remember I've had a good time. Is that weird? Like I don't remember a lot of it. I just remember the feeling of like, oh, that was neat. You know what I mean? I enjoyed myself. I don't know if that's good or bad. Like I would love to get you guys idea on can a movie be great on vibes and nothing else? Because that's kind of how I feel about this looking at this poster. You know what I mean? So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on Astro Boy.
Excuse me, sorry.
Lady Odin, take it away.
All right. Um, so this movie actually, this is the probably the one I didn't want to do. I didn't want to watch it. I don't care about cartoons like this. Like I thought it was a um, very generic version of what I was going to see. Turns out it wasn't that at all. I actually very much enjoyed Astro Boy a lot. It was a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be in its own right. Um, Especially as a parent, like it, and it just calls to question if you had lost a child, um, how would you react? Would your reaction be to take the opportunity to bring them back if you had the opportunity to do so? That was a big one. And honestly, like I think even more so now than even just when it came out in 2009, 2014, whenever it was that it came out. Even more so now, parents are randomly losing their children, you know, uh children are randomly losing their parents. A lot of diseases, a lot of cancers, etc., etc. We've all already experienced something like that, and honestly, I know a big chunk of millennials that lost their kids in their 20s. I was one of them, who lost a parent as a young in my 20s. So we all have experienced loss, and to experience a movie like this that actually deals with it in your face the way it does, in a very loving way, very cartoonish way, of course there's the anime aspect of it for sure. um I think is lovely. I think it's something that is even necessary, and in times like today. We've had it with Land Before Time. Land Before Time still makes me cry till this day.
Great movie.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. So
Great
like
movie.
it's not like it's never been there where we it's now these movies are made for us to understand loss. You know what I mean? As weird as it is, that's why they do it as gently as they do, because they know children are watching, and they know children are unfortunately going to have to experience it. Not everybody, but some. And there's going to be ways to cope through that. And in the 80s and early 90s, it was escaping to a fantasy world. Um, and my own personal experiences, I learned that we don't change. That's the go-to to escape into a fantasy world. And in this case, it's the parent who escapes into a fantasy world and turns into reality. And it just brings up this whole canopy of we're all one and the same. And again, not for hyperbole purposes, but we're all one and the same. None of us are alone, and there's just this umbrella of grief that goes beyond competitiveness. It's just, this is how we're going to react, and this is how we're going to solve this issue. Go on in a great adventure like Land Before Time, or build a second person like Astro Boy. So for me, Astro Boy is a balls deeper movie than it ever should have been, if I'm being honest. So yeah, like it's it's a good movie. It's a good movie. And again, I'm coming from the shoes of a mother, but I think if I were coming from the shoes of a child, I'd still kind of feel the same way. Again, it's funny. It has the good guy who turns the bad guy, and he's just the chunky, jolly fella who's, you know what I mean, and no harm, no foul type thing. The big giant robot doesn't end up hurting him until he, you know what I mean? Like it's just there's fun. There's fun in the movie, but man, is it dark and somewhat realistic. Somewhat realistic. Yeah.
If I was a child today, I'd be biohacking myself after watching this. Literally would be on
Steve,
GPT, like, how do I give myself like a razor arm, man, that shoots beams?
I want
Oh,
laser
okay.
eyes. Steve's got laser
Mom,
eyes.
sorry,
Mom.
I cut my arm off.
3D printing,
Like,
3D printing weaponry.
absolutely. So, Tootie, here is what I'm going to say, and I don't want to give anything away quite yet, but I agree with you 100%. When I look back on Astro Boy, out of all the movies we've watched for this random select, Astro Boy somewhat is the most surprising just because of how deep and how many layers it touches. And it's a damn good time. Like you're watching it and you just kind of like get ripped away in it. And everybody, like I can't, what's his name? Tilo? I can't remember his name. Anyway, um, he's really likable, and the situation is real, especially today, is very much relatable when you're looking around at, you know, I'm not going to go into a whole thing, but waste in all categories, okay?
Hmm.
And it's like, what is in animated film? And honestly, this is what this question came down to for me when I'm looking at these two movies: is it Astro's Boy's fault that it's made for children? I
No.
don't know. And we're going to find out here in a couple of minutes if it is Astro Boy's fault that it's made for children. But I honestly had a hard time answering this question. And I know, Mike, you're going to go here, but I cannot, no matter how it goes, I cannot recommend Astro Boy enough. I personally will be diving deep into just the lore of Astro Boy. I don't see Astro Boy being repped enough. I'm gonna become that dude that's like, oh, you're an Astro Boy dude, and it's like, yeah, this dude is awesome. So
I
that's
have
that's my 2 cents on it.
I have so much to say about this, and now I had no feelings. Now I have all the feelings. You guys just freaking killed it with with your thoughts and your feelings about what this is saying. So first things first, Astro Boy is the OG, right? He's the very first older than Godzilla levels of representation, right? And it just goes back to Japanese sensibilities that the brighter the picture, the darker the negative is with a lot of anime, right? A lot of anime has that distraction of Kamehameha wave, but there is a undercurrent of dark morality. And I think Japanese culture, Japanese anime always does such a good job to for those who are looking to look deeper can find that morality and can find that message on top of the, you know, I must succeed. I think that's from it's The Simpsons. I must succeed. Um, and with Astro Boy, it's this colorful, beautiful film. Once again, this is the second Nicolas Cage film that's made it into the, grand finals.
Oh
But
shit.
right,
I didn't even know
I forgot
Nick
about
did the
that.
finals. Damn.
he
Oh
played the
wow.
father.
He's
Way
the
Right,
to go,
dad.
Nick
he was the dad.
Cage.
And it's like you can, as a kid, you can enjoy, but as an adult, you're like, crap. If this was my kid, I probably would have did the same thing. And it's. I can't stop thinking about cemetery. Don't go down that road. You'll make yourself a robot. You know what I mean? I've corralled him for your missus. And it's like, this is my son, but it's not my son. And it's such a creepy idea that I'm in so much grief. I'm going to create what I'm longing for, but it's sad because no matter what I do, I can't get that back. You know what I mean? And even this perfect facsimile of the thing I've lost is not it because it doesn't have the spirit of what I'm missing. And that's a tough pill to swallow when you're going through grief. Is that no matter what you do, you're not going to get back what you lost. And I think the father has this perfect kind of trail of grief that he makes mistakes, and sometimes in grief you make mistakes. You're doing things you're not supposed to do because you're just trying to find any way to fill that void. And Astro Boy tells, like Toots was saying, it educates you on how to deal with that. How to deal with loss, how to deal with, growth, and not to mention all of Astro Boy's fun little um, just sidekicks. What's the name of that super squad that always messes up Toots?
Thanks.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's like RC13 or
RC,
something. It was
those
like
dudes
letters. I
rule.
forgot what it was, but yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
They wanted to take down the government. They're like anarchists,
they're anarchists,
anarchist robots.
and they failed, but they won.
R
It's
the R RRF squad.
Yeah,
RRF
RRF
squad.
squad.
Yeah,
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 that's
long
funny.
that's
live
what it is.
RRF
Everything else.
squad. You know what I mean? So Astro Boy, Wash said, this is probably the sleeper kind of underdog Rudy film of the entire random select. You know what I mean? To me, because I had no expectations watching this.
And
And
next week I'll have a little fun rapid fire thing for us, either on the live or
ooh,
whatnot, just as a
Nice.
incommencing. But
Nice.
when we said Astro Boy, I'm like, I don't want to watch Astro Boy. I'm
Me neither.
like, Tootie.
Me
I'm
neither. I
like,
did not.
what?
I
Why
did
do I
not.
want to
God
spend an hour and a
damn.
half
Yeah.
doing this? And I look back on like my last 3 months of like television, and I'm like, Astro Boy's right up there with anything I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so
Crazy.
moving on. Yes.
Moving on. Look at that. We're about to hit an hour mark. We're about to hit a mark without breaking a sweat, ladies and gentlemen.
I
Keeping
mean,
it
give
nice
us
and
a
tight.
carrot and we can talk for an hour. That's
Oh
not a
yeah.
problem.
You give us 3 minutes, we'll give you the world. Remember that? Am I old?
Eh,
Yeah. Anywho, somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. Um, you went first last time. Wash, I guess. Did I go first last time, or you did? You went first, right?
yeah, I went first.
Sorry, I have an old man pea brain. I can't. I have the memory of a goldfish. So I guess I'll go first. Um, this one was harder than I thought it was going to be because, much like Toots, like I didn't have a winner until like literally right now. Is that bad? I didn't like with the other one. I knew it was going to be Kick-Ass. I
It's
just never.
cheating, but
You know,
fine.
it's hard, man. It's like because they're both good for
Should
their
have had
own.
something written down.
No, I
Integrity
mean
for integrity
for
purposes.
I'm a Sith. That's my goal. I'm a Sith, and sometimes I don't have integrity, unfortunately. I'm Darth Nerdius is what I'm gonna call myself. But I do have a winner, and it was kind of what I was leaning toward. Just to be full transparency, kind of what I was leaning toward. But with all that said, at the end of all things, I it's got to be Kingsman for me. It's got to be Kingsman. Even though I didn't want it to be a Matthew Vaughn off in this thing, you know what I mean? It's what it's kind of turned into. It's become a
That's
Matthew
insane.
Vaughn off for me. I didn't expect that to be the end result when at the beginning of all this, but I just like I just found myself going back to Kingsman so much, you know, and just enjoying it at any part of it and being memorable in just the scenes and the music. Toots mentioned this has a killer soundtrack.
It does. It does
It
have an
keeps you
amazing soundtrack.
engaged. Manners maketh man. Colin Firth, like I told you, he's an action star to me. I'm waiting for him to lean into it. He hasn't done it yet. Um, you know, Mark Strong, you know, like Gazelle is so sick. I'm sad that she had to go, but Gazelle is one of my favorite, like Bond henchmen. She's a Bond girl and a henchman at the same time. That's kind of smart. You know what I mean? I just like how much fun it has. Even though Astro Boy is an amazing message and it's a lot of fun, and I would recommend it to anyone of all ages. I just have more fun with Kingsman, and I want to see it win. I hate to say it, but I want to see it win, but I don't know. This is my vote, so I'm going to go with Kingsman, the Secret Service, as my winner.
All right. I will say, as I'm about to say my pick, I still don't necessarily feel good about it. But for me,
Yeah.
and all three of us, apparently, it took all three of us coming down to the final seconds here. Not the final
Pretty
seconds,
much,
but
yeah.
mine's been written down. So, you know,
I
no
wrote mine down.
integrity shots over here. Um,
No, no,
um,
no.
uh, so
Do it.
Do it. Execute
wild
order,
card.
Kingsman. Execute
So
order, Secret
um,
Service.
I will say that, damn it, I wanted Astro Boy to win. I did. I really, 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 really did. Up until 25 minutes ago, as I said, can this movie lose simply because it's geared towards children? And unfortunately for me, even though I will say, I think Astro Boy, I had the much better time with Astro Boy. Astro Boy is the more complete project to me. Astro Boy makes sense to me. But when I put it up against Kingsman's style, and I'm just going to leave it at style because of what they're going for, I if Astro Boy was geared towards like 16-year-olds and not like 12-year-olds, I'd probably pick Astro Boy, but in this instance, I'm taking Kingsman, and I kind of hate myself for doing it. I'm not joking. I make this pick, and I say it, and I'm gonna get off this podcast, and I'm gonna like, I can't believe I picked Kingsman. Like that's no integrity.
That's
So,
funny.
because like we were talking about, it doesn't come down to this necessarily being a recommendation. I would recommend both of them. I enjoyed both of them. In fact, the movie I'm not picking, I actually liked as a better movie. But if you had to tell me, like, hey man, Desert Island, you get two of these movies, what are you picking? I think I'm gonna take the stylized like Kingsman, like even though Sam Jackson, like the character just irritates me. Like I did just remove him from that movie and I'm fine. So Kingsman.
Oh man, I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna
Okay.
go Astro Boy. I'm
Okay. Very
genuinely
nice.
surprised. So
Me too, a little bit, actually.
yeah,
Me too, a little bit. But hey, it is what it
it is
is.
what it
It's lovely.
toots. Bring us
Yeah.
home. Expound. Tell us your victor.
All right. All right. I got it. I got it. Okay. So I'm not doing this. Astro Boy. That's what I chose. I chose Astro
I
Boy.
could have picked that.
So much so, I wrote it
Oh.
down. I was so
Oh.
sure Astro Boy was gonna win.
Do
If
do
I'm
do
being
do.
honest, Astro Boy
Ding.
is absolutely
You're
the
not
better movie.
wrong,
And
dude.
You're
to
not
answer
wrong.
Brian's question, is it appropriate for children or whatever he asks? Or the
Is it
answer is
enough to lose because it's made for children?
no, because children need this movie, and honestly, so do a lot of adults. So
Mm.
no, absolutely not. Astro Boy is hands down the better movie. So therapeutic. Kingsman's an absolute joy. Don't get me wrong, a joy. But there's many, 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 many movies like Kingsman. Many. There's not many movies like Astro Boy, and there's not
I
many stories like Astro Boy.
am going to hate myself when this podcast ends. I'm literally just going to hate
I'm
myself.
sorry.
Random select,
Oh, damn
baby.
it.
Random
If it makes
select,
you feel better,
baby.
I lost.
Random
I
select,
lost.
baby.
That's two
You
already.
didn't lose. You picked the better film.
Yeah.
But, it's just
You
a rough
know,
one. This was a rough one, man. This
rough
was
This
probably
was
the
one.
rough.
toughest one.
Yeah,
So,
this was rough.
I'm speechless because
speechless.
every film
Speechless.
in this random select, I've had a rough going. Most of my picks have lost, right? And it's hard because it's like I feel like I'm picking the superior film for my own machinations and my own reasons. But but it's three people. These are three different perspectives in three different, ideas of what makes a better movie, right? And it's like doing this as a group is so much more therapeutic because as Astro Boy loses on a whim, it could have won. You know what I mean? If Wash just decided, F it,
If I
Astro
had
Boy.
stuck to my integrity, had some guts, just pick the kids film, yeah, you're right. But I did. Damn it.
Hey, Wash, have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis? Are you willing to come over to the
Yeah.
dark side and just throw your integrity away? You willing to come over to the dark side? We have punch and
Eh,
pie. I'm completely floored. This is why we do random select because even our winners are random. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Even the winners are random. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have our grand finals. And like I said, it's a Vaughn off. We're going to call this Toots. Please coin hashtag Vaughn off for the Insta. This is a Vaughn
Okay.
off.
It is
It's
a
a,
Vaughn off. Hey, I'm okay with that
it's a
actually.
Vaughn
I'm not
off.
mad at it. I'm not mad at it. That's great.
Kickass
That's a
versus
Vaughn off.
a Vaughn off. It's Kickass versus Kingsman. KK, and it's crazy. I'm so bad. Anyway, I'm gonna leave jokes alone. I'm gonna leave jokes alone. Kingsman Kickass is crazy. Kingsman Kickass
Let
is
it go.
crazy.
Let it
I
go.
would I would have gone Jew versus Jew on that one because same guy and he's Jewish.
Wow, Lahayim.
What?
That's all I'm gonna say is
Wow,
Lahayim.
you can't say
I
that.
can't say that.
There's no
Fair.
reason to say that right
I
now.
just want to say it. It's fun.
Yikes.
It's fun to say.
Yikes.
It's like
Oh
saying no.
boy.
It's like saying nosotros. I love saying nosotros. My favorite Spanish word.
That's weird because you can say that, right?
Yeah.
Mexicans, we chill.
Can I,
Jews, we're not.
can I say nosotros? I love
Yeah,
it.
say nosotros. Yeah, that's a good word.
And if I'm spicy,
Nosotros.
I say vosotros.
That's Spain. That's
Ooh.
that's from Spain now.
They tripping.
And
They
we
may
don't
trip.
associate. We don't do the Europeans right now.
Oh
They're
wow.
not in right now.
They're not. They're so not hot right now.
They're so not hot right now.
All right, let's close this bad boy out.
Yeah, Brian's being weird.
Brian's like cringing into his chair as we collectively lose our minds and cancel the channel. What's coming up next? We have our grand finals in 2 weeks' time. That's going to be a big event. We're going to do extremely deep dives into this new film, into both of these films. Watch is going to have some games set up, which you mentioned, some fun little things that we're going to have set up for the grand finals, and we're going to award our 2025 Random Select Champion. That's super exciting because this is a once-in-a-year event, and this is one of our best ones so far because there's actual there's visuals this time. Dancing Phalanges.
Yay!
Any final thoughts on this whole tournament before we move on to our grand finals?
I am so disappointed in myself, and I am
Don't
going to
be,
carry that
man.
with me for
Please.
days. For
Wash.
days. You
Wash.
have no idea. You have no idea how much I wanted to pick Astro Boy.
Wash.
All week I've been just
These are the ways of the Jedi. You're
we're,
fine.
we're,
yeah, I mean I get it.
we're
But
splitting
you know,
hairs.
I won't I can't help but wonder, like when your sports team loses, just how
Sports.
far
Spork.
Astro Boy could have went. Because Astro Boy is the GOAT, you know what I mean? And in some ways, had it won, taken the title, and like been GOAT, it's like that's saying a lot for Astro Boy, and it's really good. And to your point, Tootie, I when we were discussing it, you think about like try and name some movies that deal with
This.
like difficult topics, just difficult topics in general, in such a easy, translatable, watchable way. And there's not a lot of them.
No.
Not a lot.
Even for
Not a
adults,
lot.
there isn't a lot.
No.
No,
Not
no.
that are worth watching. They become uninteresting and they become this dramatic romantic story or something that nobody wants to watch.
Or it's
Basically,
right
yeah.
there in front of your face and they're like beating you
It's
over the
not
head
subtle
with
at
the
all.
message, and
Yeah.
it's like it's not subtle. Where
Yeah.
Astro Boy, it doesn't start out subtle. You're like, oh shit. But like, yeah, it's subtle. So
Yeah.
damn it,
Yeah.
Astro Boy. I'm
Don't be
sorry.
mad.
I'm gonna
I
buy a
mean,
T-shirt.
I'm gonna get a
You'll
T-shirt.
get my money.
You will get my buddy. He's got a 1/6 scale Astro Boy in the back. Soon enough. Um,
Maybe.
maybe. I know what somebody's getting for Christmas. You know, gotta love Random Select. Um, once again, please check us out on all of our streaming platforms. Check out Watchers Cade. Check out 2D's Toy Box. And of course, check out Figure It Out. And check out MOTN Plays on Twitch and on YouTube. Like, follow, and subscribe. This has been MOTN Random Select. Until next time, Nerdiverse, where we duke it out in our grand finals. Somebody gonna bleed. One of us may cry. I may flip a table. Toots is gonna pull out weapons, and Wash is gonna just leave Earth and go to and live on the moon. He's gonna.
You
he's
know
gonna
me. The man knows me.
stabbing folks with a Random Select knife. Take care, everybody. MOTN.
Let's go.
Vaughn off, baby. Hashtag Vaughn off. MOTN out. Vaya con Dios. Can I say that? Can I say Vaya con Dios?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good.